Hey guys, what's up? In this is probably going to be pretty short. We're just going to set up the next function. That is the FindNext. Okay, so I'll zoom it back in. In the last part, we worked on the functions add to set and set start. We also talked about some changes I made to the create grid, which included the camera positioning, and also the arrays for JavaScript, and for C#, let's see, I put them in this weird spot, yeah, right here, the new lists. So let me bring those up where they should be. Okay. So in C#, we're using a new list to transform, and something I didn't say is if you're using lists, you need to put this in, this line, using system.generic or system.collection.generic. These two come default in C#. This one you need to add if you want to use lists. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about now is this FindNext function. Now I have a lot of stuff multi-line commented out. That's what we're not going to be talking about right now. So we'll get to that in the future, but for now just ignore it. So first off, I have a new function called FindNext, and in JavaScript it's of type IEnumerator. I'm just going to take that out right now. We can talk about that later. So we have the function FindNext, and we also have a variable called directions, which is a array of vector 3. So to declare that, you just say in JavaScript var directions as vector 3, and then open and close the square brackets, and make a note that this is assigned in the inspector. Okay, so it's not going to be assigned in code. You have to actually go to the script and assign it yourself. Same with over here in C#, we have public list of vector 3 directions. So once you go ahead and write this down in either language, head on over to Unity, the inspector, and look at your script. So right here I have two scripts. You should only have one. I have C# right here and JavaScript right here. So this is JavaScript and this is C#. Okay, so let's start with C#. It doesn't really matter. Since it's assigned in the inspector, it should both look the same. If you went and looked at your script, you'd have something like this. It would have all the public variables we had before, and then the new variable at the bottom would be directions. That's the list of vector 3 in C#, or the array of vector 3 in JavaScript. Let me open it in JavaScript also. You can see that's the same thing. So you can have something saying size 0. What you want to do is have it be size 4. Now, let me explain what we're actually doing here. So, directions is going to be 4, or there's 4 different directions you can go, right, for cells. So let's see, if we start this again, let's say you're at this cell right here. Okay, so this one right here, there are 4 cells that are next to it, right? There's this one, so up, right, left, and, or sorry, up, right, left, and down. So there's 4 different directions, and we want our code to be able to know that. So an integral part of the script is to go in one of those directions. So there's many ways you could do this in code, but I think just for simplicity, I'm going to do it in the inspector. Okay, so you're going to make the size equals 4, so we have 4 directions, right? And here they are, element 0, 1, 2, and 3, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. For element 0, you're going to put x as 1 and leave the rest as 0, 0. For element 1, it's going to be negative 1, 0, 0. Element 2 is going to be 1, or 0, 0, 1. Element 3 is going to be negative 1. The order doesn't matter, you just have to assign these all. So in this case, element 0 with 1, 0, 0 would be right, negative 1, 0, 0 would be left, 0, 0, 1 would be up, and 0, 0, negative 1 would be down. Okay, go ahead and do that for yourself. I'm going to redo it for my JavaScript really quickly. Oh, negative 14. Okay, 1 and negative 1. So the reason the order doesn't matter is we are going to randomize that later. Or randomize the selection. So we're going to pick one of these at random, one of the 4 directions. Okay, once you have that, make sure you save. So file save, scene, and then open up your script again. And we're just going to declare all these variables. Now there's a whole lot of variables here. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 11. 11 variables just right here. Okay, but we're going to use all of them. Some are just some of these variables are just shorter names for something like pscript.position.x. We're just going to call that prevx for previous x. So let me explain what's going on here. So we have a new variable, previous, as type transform, and it's going to equal set at index set.length minus 1. So this takes the size of the set, which is an array, minus 1, because arrays are 0 based, right? So if you have an array with 2 different things inside of it, to get to that last item, you would say 2 minus 1. So the first index, right? Because there's also set.0 would be the first object, first, set 1 would be the second, so on and so forth. If that doesn't make any sense to you, you should check up on your knowledge of arrays. Okay, and if you want me to explain that, just go ahead and ask and I will. But I can't go too in depth about all of these things. Second, we have a variable called pscript, and that's short for previous script. So it's the previous, which is a transform. It's the cell script of that transform. So previous.get component cell script. I'm going to switch to C#. You can see it's the same thing. Just note it a little differently. Well, actually, okay, I have it a little different in C#. In C# I keep assigning it to the last, or the first thing, the 0th index, and in JavaScript I have it set to the last one. So I'll go fix that. For now, just go ahead and follow along with this. So set.length minus 1. Okay, next we have a transform, and that's going to be the next object. So this whole function is FindNext. We're going to start with a previous, which is declared right here. So the last thing we put in the set, or the first thing, which we are in C#, we're looking for the next thing. So we have a variable here called next, and it's not assigned yet. We're going to assign it in this function, and then a next script, which is a cell script. Okay. Next we have prevx, which is just short for the previous script's position x, and prevz, which is just short for the previous script's position z. We also have a random direction. This is vector 3. We're going to choose one of those ones that we have right here, one of these 4 directions, and we're going to store it in this variable called random direction. We also have a variable that's an integer called random seed, and it's going to be Random.Range 0 through 4. So it's going to give us either 0, 1, 2, or 3. We have it right here also. And then we have these other 3 variables as integers, next z, or next x, next z, and counter. Okay, I'm running out of time, so that's it for right now. Go ahead and make these